Hello, my busy bees. So today I don't feel like drawing, art block, if you will. So we're just gonna react to other people drawing. So today we're gonna be reviewing some TikTok art tips. Now, y'all have probably seen a million of these videos on the internet, but I don't care. I'm gonna do one myself. All right, so let's check out this one first.
Digital art tips with Aloe. Day 1. Shading for beginners. Don't draw in your shadows. Putting them where you think they'd go often ends up inaccurate and random. Try making a clipping layer over your flat colors. Fill in a multiply layer with a dark color that matches the environment. Set a light source and erase the areas the light would hit.
Okay, I do this sometimes in some of my art pieces, but you can do either or. This shading method is really good if you have really harsh, direct lighting, but the other method where you kind of just place slight shadows is good if there's no real direct light. Kind of like how you see on my model. I drew in all those shadows because I have no direct light source. It's supposed to give a studio look, or you're standing outside, because when you're outside, light is bouncing off of every surface. So you're not gonna have forward straight light source when you're outdoors. So keep that in mind. This works really well if you do have a direct light, like if you're inside sitting next to a lamp, but if you're literally anywhere else, minimize your shadows. But both works just depending on your environment. Oh my lord.
There are 3 art tips to make sure your art doesn't end up looking like this. Remember to use T-shapes in your art. This can be used to exemplify the eyelashes or the eyelids on your art. And using this overlapping shape in your art is really good for giving it more depth, as you can see here using clothes. Remember that the eye is actually a 3D form, so this means when you're shading in the eyelid, don't leave the eyeball just white. So make sure to at least add a little bit of shading. This will give
Okay, that's... Why is it so loud and so fast? First thing he mentioned was the T-shapes in your line work. I agree, but you gotta know where to put these things. You know, don't just start throwing T-shapes everywhere. You gotta know what you're doing. It's usually common where there's a fold, right? If you have a fold, which is like why he said right here by the eyes, because your skin kind of folds. Yeah, T-shape, or if it's in clothing, but don't just start throwing them things everywhere. But yeah, I use those all the time. You could probably spot at least 5 of those on my model if you just glanced at it once. So yeah, I agree with that. Shading the eyeball. Pro tip 2, don't use gray to shade your eyeball. The eye has so many colors in it. I mean, you could use gray to shade. Let me not say you can't do something, but I like to use either a blue or a purple to shade the eye. It depends really on the character overall in the environment, really, because the eye is very reflective. If the character is in more of a cool toned environment, I will just use blue, purple. If it's in a neutral environment, still gonna use blue and purple. But if it's in a warm environment, then yeah, I'll switch it up. Use more of a reddish, but still keep it slightly desaturated because it is white, so you know. Anyway,
all just white. So make sure to at least add a little bit of shading. This will give it much more depth. For the final tip, remember not to place your mouth too high or too low. The mouth should be right in the middle of the nose and the chin, and if you guys mess this up, it's gonna look really weird.
Yeah, no comment on that last one. That's, yeah. Next! Please use references. Please, I'm a big reference advocate. Always use references, because I don't. I am anti-reference. I've been telling people to use reference because I'm trying to make sure y'all go down a better path than me, you know? What is wrong with me? I'm such a anti-reference type of person. It's because my brain is so like detailed. I think I'll just be fine, you know what I mean? Like, I can see in 4D. My thoughts, I can smell my thoughts. It is what it is, you know? Like, but I definitely advocate for using references if you're trying to improve. For me, am I trying to improve? Not really. I'm just trying to doodle. I'm just trying to create. When I do want to improve, I do use references. So anyway, yeah, use references. I say to do this all the time. I say to do this all the time. If you're practicing, simplify the shapes, you know? Don't just trace the character, because you're not really going to understand why things are doing that and how to replicate that into your own art. Find the circles, the triangles, the squares, the boxes, whatever your mind sees and perceives, and simplify that and then draw that. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. So basically, don't just trace their figure, get to know simplified shapes so then you can replicate it into your own art. And then they're giving a little bit of a pointer about using these little guidelines to get proportions and practice your proportions in your characters. 10 out of 10 on that one. Yeah, fully agree with this entire video. Next!
Guys, is it okay to trace a drawing, but only like the guidelines? Like I'm not gonna take anything else, just the jaw.
Girl, I'm not gonna take anything else. Just oh my god, yeah. Nobody cares, bro. I promise you. No one's even gonna be able to tell. You'll be fine. I like that video, but yeah, if you're taking just a detail from another drawing, nobody cares. It's when you literally trace the entire thing, copy entire color palettes. Just no, that's when it starts getting a little messy. Cause like, but no, that's fine. Nobody, I promise you, nobody cares that much, and nobody would even be able to tell.
Here's a trick for drawing arms.
I love this guy.
When drawing arms and
MacLeod
legs, it's very easy to get lost in the details of elbows and ankles, fat and muscles.
Yeah.
What works for me is to consider the arms and legs as either one or two simple shapes, depending on the motion of the limb.
Yeah.
Take this example, where energy is flowing straight through the arms, pulling a heavy object. So we turn it into one simple shape. Or is it casually holding a drink? Then that's two shapes. Is the leg straight and supporting the body? Then simplify the whole leg into just one shape. Or is it bent, maybe preparing to throw out a big karate kick? Making this simple decision on how to simplify the limbs can really help expressing energy and communicating what the limb is actually doing within the context of the pose.
Yeah. When I'm drawing a limb, right, I use triangles so often. They usually form into just a weird triangle shape, so it is what it is. And then I just wing it from there. I work on proportions first, and then I go in with any details. That's kind of what I do. But his method is just kind of to help you with your shapes more. Break it into one or two simplified shapes, and then add details. Last video on my list.
One really weird anatomy tip I learned from my professor is to draw feet like teeth. Now, this isn't to say that you should be drawing weird teeth-feet hybrids, which would be honestly terrifying, but instead to draw the negative space in the toes, like how you learn to draw teeth. For example, if you drew each tooth individually in the mouth, it usually ends up looking weird and kind of creepy. So what people will tell you to do is draw the overall shape and then add in the negative space, which is the gums. You can apply this same logic to feet, where you just draw the overall shape of the foot, and then you can fill in the negative space of the toes. Of course, you might have to edit the shape afterward to fully show each of the toes, but just starting with the overall basic shape and then filling in these negative spaces of the gaps of the toes really helps when figuring out how to place toes and not having to draw them individually and ending up with some scary looking feet.
Yep, gonna be taking that advice. Snatched. I suck at drawing feet. I cannot draw toes for the life of me. I didn't think about that. It's because of how close they are together, you know. How our brains naturally perceive, like, similar to teeth. When you're looking at somebody's face and their teeth, you're not seeing the individual lines, right? You're not seeing tooth, you see teeth, right? Similar to like how if you were to look at somebody's foot, you're not seeing toe, you're seeing foot. It's like a whole. It's just how our brains kind of perceive it. So kind of viewing drawing toes like teeth and like not making each individual line so prominent makes complete sense psychologically. That is it for this video, gang. I'm so burnt out. Like, bro, I uploaded 2 days in a row. Burnt. Dude, art is hard. Anyway, that's it for this video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Buzz.